Alrighty, what do we got here? Draw is Journeyman, Tactician, Broker, choosing plus cards. I think that's it. Villages? Is it just Broker? I think Broker's the only village here. It's a pretty expensive village. We also have Shaman, which punishes you for playing with trash for benefit cards, because you broker something expensive to get actions out of it. Your opponent gets to gain it back from the trash at the start of their turn. A way around that would be if there's a way to play broker at the start of your turn, and you could trash something and immediately regain it in your own turn. I'm not seeing a way to make that happen. For trashing, Shaman and Expand and Broker, and then plus buy Schmonger and Tactician, plus Expand and Duplicate for gains. Way the Butterfly can gain things. Is there anything that reveals Patron for coffers? Journeyman? If you played a Journeyman and drew through your deck, you'd reveal some number of patrons. That's not a major patron synergy, though. Think I want to play with a pair of Tacticians. Tactician is effectively non-terminal draw. Like you have to play it terminally at the end of your turn, but then you get plus one action back at the start of the next turn. So if you're playing one Tactician every turn, it's not really costing you an action. And it's plus buy, non-terminal plus buy, which is valuable here, given the lack of terminal space, and it's non-terminal draw, which again is valuable. The downside of Tactician is you can't play with Platinum, but it's pretty good payload for getting to Colony. So you have to play with like Patrons and stuff, or Charlatan, which is a definitely a big downgrade. But I think Tactician looks good enough to justify that. It's like two Tacticians, a bunch of Patrons. Probably end up brokering some stuff. How does one open here? Double Shaman, Shaman Broker. For Shaman around, you gotta make sure you're trashing consistently so you don't get behind because the junk is constantly coming in. Also, you want to keep at least one card in the trash so your opponent is forced to gain something. I'm going to say Broker plus Shaman, final answer. I always find this choice difficult. Order of Masons with an Estate Trasher. Naturally, you'd want to keep the estates out of your deck because of the worst card, but you also want to make sure the card that's meant to trash estates lines up with an estate. I'm thinking I will. If I discard two, I'm only like 4 and 9 to find the estate with the Broker. I think I'm going to leave an extra estate in the deck. The downside of having more estates in the deck is you're less likely to hit a high price point. But I think just buying another Shaman or buying Transport looks fine if I only hit 3. So the downside of having more estates and fewer coppers is not really notable. So take coins and buy a 5 immediately. I think just putting a Tactician in the deck does sound pretty good. Alternatively, I could transport something and then like at a future turn get 2 of them. The favors are pretty nice. If I just trash this for favors, I get to discard like I always forget which one. Order of Basins is 2 and Avoid is 3 cards. The next hand is Shaman 3 copper estate. Probably going to trash a copper over an estate there. I'm not sure about that. I think I'm going to take coins and buy a Tactician. And then I'll buy a Shaman here. This is an alright hand. I'd rather have a Shaman to go alongside it, but I can't complain about Tactician being on top. I want to draw that estate, so let's resolve the Tactician first, and then let the estate go to the discard afterwards. Okay, this is a lot of estates. I should probably trash some estates with the Shamans. Yeah, I'm just going to trash all these estates. Given that I'm going to be getting estates back from the trash most turns anyway, I'm not going to run out of estates for the broker to trash. And here, could be 2 patrons. Could be take a second Tactician already. I think I want patrons first. Well, my money is still mostly coppers for the moment, and so I don't want to commit to playing a Tactician every single turn quite yet, because I never get to play the coppers. This is a good hand. I guess broker trashing an estate is a village. It's like an Acropolis. Actually, it's worse than an Acropolis. An Acropolis is -1 card. Broker trashing a state is like -2 cards. So you have to draw both of those cards into your hand. So, for example, if you're trying to draw your deck by crashing a state to the broker for action and then playing a Journeyman or any Smithy variant for draw, you'd actually just be spinning your wheels because that would take you 3 cards to draw 3 cards. Mick's got a second tactician already. Cards, trash, trash, tin money. I think I want my second tactician now. And maybe just another patron for the moment. Could be a journeyman. Could be a second broker. I didn't say the brokers are villages if I want them to be. Take another broker. We've got 2 estates in the deck. Unfortunately, I did not find a tactician this turn. I'm guessing Mick has his other tactician in hand. Maybe that's not true. He hasn't actually triggered a shuffle. I was about to say, wow, he's so thin. If that was just his estate in the discard, but that's not. There's a bunch of other cards down there. Oh, no, he did find a second tactician. There is a bunch of stuff down there, but tactician wasn't among them. So he's gotten to the point where he's consistently playing tactician a little bit faster than I have. I should take an estate. I have brokers. But do I have more in my deck to show for it? I have 1 extra broker. I'm not sure if I've trashed more. Journeyman. This is, I think, not a great draw. I really want to play Tactician, and they're both in the bottom 4, so I'll have to trash an estate for plus cards and then spend a villager, which I think is a fairly precious resource here. Actions seem like the hardest thing to come by. Yeah, we're doing the same thing, and he seems to have gotten to the end goal a little bit faster than I have. Oh, okay, I'm just lost. Not much you can do about the 2 tacticians being the bottom 2 cards of your deck. That's rather unfortunate. I can't even draw with this broker if I wanted to. If there was an estate in my hand, I would immediately sacrifice these last 2 villagers to draw the tactician. I think it's that important. I'm just dead in the water now. Play on in hopes of something happening here. But he's now gonna have like 3 straight turns of 10 card hands that I've missed out on. The trouble with being in a position like this is you can't really count on your opponent dudding and you getting back into the game that way. Like once you get to the position of my deck is full of tacticians, uh, every turn you're going to start with 10 out of the 12 cards in your deck. You're not going to randomly draw a dud hand that lets me back in the game. I think the rest of this is probably just going to be a very slow loss. Maybe Mick does something greedy and opens the pile out. Is there anything I have to lead in? Equal and journeyman. I'm behind on villagers. I have more brokers. I think I technically have more patrons, but 2 of them are on exile. They're not actually in the deck. I imagine Mick probably gets another patron here, and then that also becomes a moot point. Yeah. I think I'm behind on thinning by now, right? I have certainly not been trashing as much, given the quality of my hands. Take that estate. Don't want to draw this state, so let's name something irrelevant to make sure I draw everything else. Take actions, actions, patron, patron, tactician. Take that last patron. Is a fishmonger any good? Third shaman. Fishmonger would give me a third buy to. I'm not sure if that matters at all. Probably not. It does cost an action. I think yeah, I'm out of coppers. I don't need more shamans. So I think it's just fishmonger or nothing. Do I need to have 3 buys in this deck? I'm not convinced that I do. There's a lot of expensive stuff to work towards. Not a whole lot of cheap things I need to buy many copies of. My dream here is maybe I just bank up a bunch of villagers and manage to like butterfly a bunch of stuff into a pile out that Mick leaves open. Seems pretty unlikely. Like I'm looking at the piles and which other piles are going to end up close to empty. I'm not really sure. It's kind of hard to say how to scale up from here. Charlatans, maybe? Again, you can't really play with treasure because tactician would discard it before you get to play it. So your options are add duplicates, add charlatan for money, expand stuff. Make is just buying colony one at a time, which I find surprising. Okay. Go ahead and trash that for actions. Those bottom 3 cards have an estate, right? It appears so. I have 2 victory points. Yeah, so let's just name something irrelevant and draw all that. I can only play one of these shamans. Tactician only works if you discarded at least 1 card. So I have to leave 1 card in my hand. I don't know. I don't feel like it's quite time for colony yet. I'm not sure where to go from here. I don't think the Charlatan Curse attack hurts enough. He has shamans in his deck, which will eat the curses. It could still be Charlatan for money, perhaps. Maybe expands. What if I get a bunch of expands in my deck? And then, like on the last turn, I butterfly all the expands into provinces. Could that be a thing? Now I'm thinking about what about Journeyman plus expand? The deck's going to be getting increasingly village intensive, so I probably have to make plans to start brokering something for action soon. If you're trashing something expensive with broker, you probably want to trash at least 2 good things on the same turn, so that your opponent gets one back and you get one back, rather than just handing your opponent a free thing for nothing. I'm at the limit of what my deck can draw, so I probably should add at least 1 more Journeyman. And does Expand have any good targets? I could trash a Shaman or something. I think I want an Expand. So I think my goal for this turn probably is to get 2 decent cards into the trash. Trouble is, what are those cards? I think one of the brokers can probably die. That's fine. I don't think I really want to put a patron into the trash. I think mixed deck would benefit from additional patrons. Maybe I'm just trashing all these states in the shaman, like 2 brokers plus expand, trash, state, shaman, shaman. The shamans are basically estates at this point. Just exactly 1 colony per turn. I mean, that could work. Seems insufficient to me. I've got a patron down there. I want to make sure I reveal it, so I should name, I guess, if I name broker, I draw everything except for the brokers. This just guarantees that I find the patron. I didn't want the patron to be the bottom out of the 4 cards and me not to get a free coffer out of it. Now I trash one thing with expand and draw all of that with the journeyman. Maybe a charlatan. Mixed deck is barely drawing. Maybe the curses will matter. I don't know. Let's trash this for actions. This for actions. Get some villagers back. Charlatan, tactician. So should I be following on with colonies now? Probably I'm not building to like buying 2 colonies. a lot of extra money to add. I could do colony plus expand something into colony. I don't know, maybe. 22 might not be out of the question if my journeyman hit more patrons in the future. First thing coming to my mind is buy colony and transport a charlatan. Then I can expand an estate into another charlatan and unexile the charlatan that I transported mid-turn. Alternatively, I could add like an expand plus a raider, and then raider is just a card that I could trash to broker or something. And then I give Mick a raider, but he can't really play it because raider will be played after the tactician. So the best he could do is broker it and give it back to me. That'd be pretty funny. So expand raider or colony exile charlatan. I like the idea of the raider a lot. It's funny. I think probably the other plan makes a little more sense. I'm happy to see two journeymans and no patrons in this hand. Ideally, I don't draw many patrons off the top of my tactician either, and then I get a bunch of coffers. I don't know, buying one colony per turn seems so uninspired to me. All right, so let's name two patrons. I will skip both patrons and draw everything else. And now the patrons are back in the discard. And then I can get those coffers one more time. Let's go ahead and expand a shaman into a charlatan. Discard from exile. Name nothing of importance this time. Okay. Like I said, I think I want two good things to be in the trash. Oh, I didn't draw on both charlatans. I guess that was a slight mistake, probably, right? I probably should have named. I couldn't have named patron because then we'd just get both patrons, and that's not good. I think it was just a 50-50 of whether charlatan or patron was on the bottom. Actually, I'm not even sure why I wanted charlatan to be in my hand. Patron's probably just a better card. I get a coffer and I get to play it non-terminally. So anyways, I was mentioning kind of wanting to have two good things in the trash, so I get one of them back. I could potentially broker both charlatans, one for actions, one for coins. I can butterfly a charlatan into a raider. Unfortunately, that does not trash the charlatan. Yeah, I think I'm going to do actions, coins. Okay. So if Mick buys that colony, I'll need to do two colonies and give out a curse. Well, actually, Mick can give me a curse too, most likely, right? Because he'll gain my charlatan and maybe he'll draw back around and play it. I also have to worry about Mick has a broker. So he could do cash colony for money and then buy two colonies. He'd only get one colony worth of points, but he would lower the pile by more. I think I'm just gonna add one more journeyman just to make sure I draw everything. Think I feel like I'm in a good position now, provided I draw my deck. So if Mick takes one colony, I could trash colony into colony, buy colony, butterfly some stuff up into duchies for extra points. If Mick mills the colony and then buys a colony, he'll be at 40, I'll be at 20. I'll need to do colony in like two provinces or colony province double duchy. That sounds totally doable as well. I think I'm just gonna buy a journeyman. I feel like if I don't dead badly here, I should probably win. Actually, probably the most annoying thing here would be if Mick takes zero colonies, right? I don't think I have a good way to get three colonies this turn. Actually, maybe I could do three colonies. If Mick just bought a province or something, that'd be expanding colony into colony and then brokering a bunch of stuff for money. We'll see what he has in store. Mick also has a bunch of villages to work with, so maybe he can take some duchies as well or something on the last turn. But he seemed to be just cutting it a lot closer on money, where he was hitting exactly like 11 or 12 every turn. So if he brokers a bunch of stuff into, or sorry, butterflies a bunch of cards into duchies and loses all of his patrons, he might not hit 11. It's good that there's no six cost actions, or bad, I guess, depending on your perspective. But if there were any sixes here, you could butterfly your second tactician up into altar or something, and then butterfly that to expand, and then make them take extra colonies. But there's a missing rung in the ladder. That's also something to keep in mind on whatever turn is going to be your last turn. You're gonna have an extra tactician sitting around that you can do something with. You could turn it into a gold, for example, for money. Um, hmm. I say that literally as Mick is doing the exact thing. Does he have a win this turn? That doesn't seem possible, right? He has two buys. What's the play here? Maybe is he doing like a true double colony and then just taking enough points that he thinks that I won't be able to come back from that? That might be a threat. 19 isn't quite there. 21. Okay, yeah, 22. There it is. Okay. Yeah, that was a good line. The good news for me is if I can't win this turn, there's always a chance that Mick duds because he didn't get a tactician down. He doesn't have an expand in his deck. He does have villagers, so if he finds a journeyman, he's probably got a decent chance of getting to colony, or if he finds like broker plus colony in hand. It is far from certain he'll dud, but I at least get some chance if I can't find a win this turn. I should probably take the gold, right? Yeah, gold is just more money if I broker it. It's non-terminal. Charlatan gives that one extra curse if I plan on playing it rather than trashing it. Let me consider what my win condition is here. If I take one colony and go up to 29 points, but I'm still trailing by, ooh, that's a big chunk of points that I'm behind by. So let's say I butterfly and expand into a province. So I need to get four provinces and a colony, or three provinces, a colony, and duchies, or I don't know, like one colony, two provinces, two duchies. All of that sounds like a lot of things. Hmm. Does playing charlatans change the numbers at all? Like if I gave out some curses, does that one or two extra points make a big difference? So I get one colony, go to 29. I get one province, probably from butterflying the expand. I go to 35. I need to score 15 more points. I think one charlatan makes a difference, right? Because then I could do like province triple duchy or double province duchy and give out a curse for that last tie-breaking point. I don't think a second curse is making a big difference. So I think I'm taking the gold just because it's potentially one more money or action or card or whatever I need it to be. Let's name patron. Let's name patron again. Okay, I've drawn everything but the patrons. So let's start counting now. I think this could get there. Got a lot of actions, got a lot of potential duchies to work with. So let's say I play the charlatan. I just need one more money from somewhere, which I'll get if I play the journeyman, for example. Or I can just play the shaman for one more money. So like charlatan, 7 coppers, shaman is enough to buy a colony. That gets me to 35, effectively 36 because I gave out a curse. And then I need to score 15 more points. The expand turns into one province. Wait, no. I'm double counting that. Colony alone gets me to 29, plus the expand for province gets me to 35, plus the curse gets me to 36. And then I need to gain like 5 duchies, which, yeah, looks pretty doable, right? Can I afford to play charlatan, play expand, butterfly all 5 of these into duchies? Is that possible? I only have 6 actions, that's 7 terminals. So what I could do is I could broker something for actions and draw the last patron and butterfly that. That works. Okay. So let's just go ahead and play the shaman. I'll trash the curse. Say broker one tactician for action. Let me just double check this. Broker tactician for actions, play journeyman and draw the patron. I get a free coffer. Hooray. Then I'll have tons of actions. I turn 3 patrons, one broker, one patron into duchies. That's 15 points. Plus a colony is 10 points. That's 25 points plus it. Yeah, that checks out. And a bonus duchy. I think I was just beyond lost. That turn that I bottom decked both tacticians, I think Mick just started scoring way too early. That deck can do way more than one colony per turn, and he kind of locked himself into a game plan that didn't have any way upwards.